So welcome to this face painting demo. Most of it's going to be time sped up. It's not a full lesson, but I thought I'd share with you painting the third layer on this face. So I'll start by sharing the paint colors I used. I used a Titan Buff, a Payne's Gray, a Raw Sienna, a Burnt Umber, a Red Oxide, a Titanium White, a Green Gold, and a Yellow Oxide. I do also put down a magenta, but I don't end up using it. I end up mixing the red oxide with the yellow oxide to create kind of a peachy color. So I love using the golden opens because they stay wet longer. So I'm able to blend the face for longer, but also not wet so long that I can't layer on top. So those of you that have taken my lessons before know how much I love golden open paints. They are a bit more expensive. I do find they last a long time because you can also cover the palette over while it's wet. If you're finishing a session, still have some leftover paint, come back the next day or even the day after sometimes, and the paint's still wet, so you can use it. The paint's also really nicely, highly pigmented, so you need less of it as well. But you can also add extenders to regular acrylic paints to help them stay wet longer. So I wanted to show you the third layer because this is sometimes when the face really starts to come alive. Often before this stage I'm often a little worried that the face isn't going to work out. But in this third layer, sometimes I do more than 3 layers, but I often find 3 kind of gets me where I want to. So I'm just starting with mixing the Payne's Gray and the Burnt Umber, the 2 darkest colors together. And I use, and I've forgotten to add the Titan Buff to that. I use that as kind of my darkest shade or tone, and so I'm just sort of edging around the edge of the face there. And I tend to work in quadrants on the face. I'll do the forehead, and then I'll move to the left side of the face, the right side of the face, and then I'll pick up a smaller brush and go in on the nose, eyes, and mouth, and then a bigger brush again to do the neck area. It's just sort of a pattern that I've worked out and how I like to move around the face, and also while the paint's still wet enough to blend. So I'm just adding that darker color in a few spots on the forehead. I mostly use a dry brush, and so you'll see me when I'm changing colors, I'll wash off the paint and then I'll kind of dry it a bit on my paper towel. So I'm going now in with the Raw Sienna mixed with Titan Buff, and just putting it in some random spots around the forehead there. And now the red oxide with the Titan Buff, and then I'm adding a bit of that yellow oxide. So you can mix golden open paints with non-open paints. I would have preferred to have used all open paints, I just didn't have all the colors that I wanted. So I had a little piece of pattern paper there that I was using as color inspiration. So I was just checking to see if I'd kind of mixed that color. So it looks a little bit funny at this point before I do the blending. Now you might not be able to do this if you don't have the golden open paints, or if you don't have an extender for your paints. You may have to work a little quicker in blending each area. You may have to work in even smaller quadrants or sections of the face. So Titan Buff really is my friend when I paint faces. I'm using it to lighten all the other colors. I will add a bit of titanium white as well, but I don't use a lot of the titanium white, just in the very, very highlight parts, and I still mix it with the Titan Buff. So there I am pulling out a bit of the titanium white. Oh no, more Titan Buff, and now the titanium white. So once I get down sort of a variety of these colors and tones, I'll start to blend them all together a little bit. I'm just moving my brush in various back and forth, up and down, sideways strokes. So you see me here starting to blend them together. Now you can start to overblend where you start to lose some of the unique colors, but you can always go back in on top and add back in those colors. I often go back in with the raw sienna even as a pure color, and you'll see in a little bit later I also add some of the green gold in its pure color as well, because I wanted to add that green gold into the background, so I wanted a little bit into her face as well. The inspiration for this painting was some flowers and some pink flowers with some green leaves. Not a usual color palette for me, but I was feeling inspired. So you can see the forehead starting to take a bit more shape now, looking a little more rounded, but I did start to lose some of the variety in the colors, so I'm kind of going back in and adding some more of that. So it's just kind of a back and forth process until you feel like you have an area the way that you'd like it to be. Usually the more layers, the more interest, because you have more variety of colors and tones. So I was feeling a little sad when I was working on this piece. You can see in this the first and second layer here that I did off camera, she was looking a little sad. But working on this piece really helped bring me a sense of healing and joy for what I was experiencing in my life. And so she too transforms a little bit as I go through here. So I'm gonna put some music on and let the rest of the video play, and I hope you enjoy this little painting demo for layer 3, and if you have any questions, please send me a message or an email, and also I'd love to hear any comments you have in our Facebook group as well. So enjoy. And if you work on a face inspired from this lesson, I always remind people to be kind to themselves as they're creating, and focus on your intention for creating, which is what I really had to do with this piece, bringing myself back to reminding myself why I paint, and really connecting with her on the canvas. So there. You see me adding a bit of that green gold in a few spots. So yes, enjoy. Koichika.